Ever watched one of those fighter jets just blast off from an aircraft carrier
Yeah. Oh,
and
no.
thought, man, I wish I had that office view?
Yeah.
Well, you're not alone.
Nope. Well,
We're diving into the world of Air Force pilots today.
yeah.
And trust me, it's way more than just buzzing towers and looking cool.
Right.
You sent us some really cool stuff, actually, from RoleCatcher,
Uh-huh.
their Air Force pilot career guide.
Yeah.
So let's use this to kind of separate the Hollywood myth from the cockpit reality.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's easy to get caught up in the glamour,
Right.
but this career guide, it doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
It dives right into what these pilots actually do.
Yeah.
And it's about way more than just fancy flying.
Yeah. The what they do section was eye-opening.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew safety was important, but they emphasized the sheer responsibility these pilots shoulder.
All right. Think about it. We're talking multi-million-dollar aircraft,
Yeah.
crucial missions, and potentially even lives on the line.
Right.
A pilot's decisions
Wow.
have a ripple effect far beyond the cockpit.
Yeah,
And that means being as sharp mentally as they are in their flight maneuvers.
totally. But here's something that surprised me.
Okay.
The guide stresses communication skills almost as much as piloting skills.
Right.
Who knew being a smooth talker was essential for dodging supersonic jets?
It's all about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Think of it like a perfectly choreographed air ballet,
Okay.
except with way higher stakes.
Right.
Pilots are in constant contact with air traffic control, with their squadron, sometimes even with international forces.
Well,
One miscommunication could spell disaster.
right.
So those communication skills are truly life or death.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so top-notch piloting nerves of steel A&A eloquence of a diplomat. Anything else we should add to this mental picture?
Oh, don't forget the work environment.
Yeah.
Think long hours, irregular schedules, and frequent travel.
Oh, right.
You could be stationed in the middle of the desert one month and on an aircraft carrier the next.
Wow.
It's not your typical 9 to 5.
That's right. And the guide doesn't sugarcoat the challenges in the work environment section.
Right.
Extreme weather, high altitudes, even the possibility of encountering hostile situations.
Yeah.
This isn't a career for someone who likes routine.
Absolutely. And that constant pressure, the potential for danger, it takes a certain kind of person to not just handle that, but to thrive in it.
Right.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the training in a bit, but just know they don't let anyone steer those billion-dollar birds.
Yeah.
It's serious business.
It is serious business.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've established that this isn't a gig you just fall into.
right.
What does it actually take to earn those wings?
Well, the journey starts with education,
Okay.
and the guide's education level section is very clear.
Yeah.
A bachelor's degree is the bare minimum,
Right.
and not just in any field.
Because when I think fighter pilot, I don't immediately think communication studies.
Right.
But the guide lists that under academic pathways.
Sure.
What's the deal with that?
Well, it makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Okay.
These pilots aren't just steering machines.
Right.
They're leading teams.
Yeah.
They're strategizing in high-pressure situations
Oh, wow.
and even dealing with international relations sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, so a broad education,
Wow.
including things like communication,
Okay.
actually makes them more effective leaders.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
So it's about having the whole package, not just being a gearhead.
exactly.
Right. But even with a degree,
Right.
there's more, isn't there? The guide mentions a whole battery of tests.
Oh, yeah, buckle up because it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh, boy.
We're talking the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test,
Okay.
or AFQT for short,
Okay.
plus a grueling physical exam that makes a marathon look like a warm-up jog.
Wow. I'm exhausted just hearing about it.
Right.
And then there's, was it the pilot candidate selection method?
Yes.
That sounds intense.
PCSM, yeah. And it is designed to weed out anyone who just wants to look cool in a flight suit.
Right.
Imagine simulations that test your reflexes to the absolute limit.
Wow.
Psychological evaluations that analyze your every decision.
Oh, my goodness.
They're looking for that perfect blend of mental agility, physical stamina, and ice-cold decision-making.
Wow. They really put you through the ringer.
They do.
And tell me a bit more about the TBAS.
Okay.
The guide mentions that as a key hurdle.
Right, the Air Force Test of Basic Aviation Skills.
Yeah,
This one's all about evaluating your natural aptitude for flying.
I see.
They stick you in a simulator
Okay.
and assess things like your spatial orientation,
Okay.
your coordination,
Oh.
how quickly you can process information in a 3D environment.
Wow.
It's like figuring out if you've got that innate feel for the skies.
So you've conquered this mountain of tests.
Yes.
Proven you have the right stuff. You're officially an Air Force pilot.
Right.
What happens next? Do they just hand you the keys to a fighter jet and say good luck?
Not quite.
Okay.
This is where the real journey begins.
Okay.
The Air Force pilot career stages section
Yeah.
outlines 4 main phases:
Okay.
entry-level, junior, experienced, and senior.
Okay.
Think of it like climbing the ranks with each stage building on the last.
Okay, so break it down for me. What's an entry-level pilot actually doing? Are we talking high-flying missions right off the bat?
Not exactly.
Okay.
At the entry level, it's all about building a rock-solid foundation.
Okay.
You're assisting experienced pilots,
Right.
learning the ins and outs of specific aircraft,
Okay.
logging flight hours in simulators and on training missions. It's about mastering the fundamentals before you take on the really hairy stuff.
So it's like an apprenticeship learning from the best of the best.
Exactly. And as you progress to the junior pilot stage,
Okay.
you start taking on more responsibility. You're not just along for the ride anymore.
Yeah.
You're actively involved in missions,
Wow.
making critical decisions,
Yeah.
and ensuring the safety of your crew and aircraft.
Okay, so the training wheels are off and you're really starting to spread your wings.
That's a great way to put it.
What changes as you become an experienced pilot?
Well, this is where you transition from being the student to becoming the teacher.
Oh, wow.
You're leading missions,
Okay.
mentoring junior pilots,
Right.
and your expertise is called upon for more complex operations.
That's got to be a pretty amazing feeling going from rookie to the one calling the shots.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And by the time you reach the senior pilot stage,
Yeah.
you're not just piloting missions.
Yeah.
You're shaping the future of air operations.
Wow.
You're commanding squadrons,
Oh, okay.
developing strategic plans,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even advising high-ranking officials.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is a position of immense responsibility and influence.
Wow. Talk about a power move. From learning the ropes to leading the charge, that's quite a career trajectory.
Yeah, it is.
But we've talked a lot about the demands,
Right.
the training, the sheer intensity of this job.
Mhm.
What does the guide have to say about the upsides,
Okay.
the perks that make all that sacrifice worthwhile?
Well, I think it goes without saying that there's a certain cool factor to being an Air Force pilot.
Of course, yeah.
The speed, the
Mhm.
technology, the sheer thrill of flight.
Yeah.
That's a major draw for a lot of people.
Absolutely. It's the stuff of childhood dreams.
Right.
But beyond the obvious, what does the guide highlight? The pros and cons section, I think it was.
It really emphasizes the incredible sense of purpose
Uh-huh.
and accomplishment
Yeah.
that comes with this career.
Okay.
You're not just punching a clock.
Right.
You're serving your country, protecting lives,
Wow.
and being a part of something much bigger than yourself.
Right. And that sense of purpose can be incredibly powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
But the guide also mentions
Yeah.
high stress levels as a con.
It's true.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure, imagine having to make split-second decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes, with limited information,
Oh.
knowing that those decisions could have life or death consequences.
Oh, wow.
Then add in the physical demands,
Oh.
G-forces fatigue,
Right.
the constant need to be at the top of your game.
Right.
It's a high-stakes environment, both mentally and physically.
That's a side you don't often see in the movies.
I know, right?
But it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They make it look so effortless.
Right.
But in reality,
Yeah.
it's anything but.
Totally.
Now, one more thing that caught my eye
Okay.
was the technology advances section.
Yeah.
How does the rapidly changing world of tech impact these pilots?
It's huge these days.
Okay.
Cockpits are more like high-tech computer labs than anything else.
Oh, wow.
Pilots are constantly having to learn new systems,
Right.
adapt to software upgrades,
Right.
and stay ahead of the curve when it comes to things like artificial intelligence
Wow.
and drone technology.
So it's not a learn it once and you're good kind of deal.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
The guide really stresses that
Yeah.
being an Air Force pilot means committing to lifelong learning.
Really?
They're constantly attending training,
Okay.
reading industry publications, even going to conferences
Wow.
to stay up to date on the latest advancements.
Wow. So not only do they need to be incredible pilots,
Right.
they also need to be tech savvy and adaptable.
Yeah.
That's like they're constantly going back to school.
That's a great way to put it. They have to be comfortable with constant evolution,
Right.
always pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the air.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
We have.
from the rigorous training to the demanding work, the incredible highs and the ever-present challenges.
Yeah.
It's clear that being an Air Force pilot is not a decision to be taken lightly.
It's definitely not for everyone.
Right.
But for those with the right combination of skill,
Right.
dedication, and that unquenchable thirst for adventure
Yeah.
in the wild blue yonder,
Sure.
it can be an incredibly rewarding path.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a final thought from the RoleCatcher guide.
Okay.
It mentions that psychology is important knowledge for an Air Force pilot.
Interesting.
Why do you think understanding human behavior would be so crucial for someone in this role,
Okay.
especially as they climb the ranks and take on leadership positions?
Yeah.
Food for thought as you continue your own exploration of this demanding but undeniably fascinating career path.